Today, we're going to be talking about uniforms. Lots of people wear uniforms, but let's just think about a few of them. Police officers wear uniforms while they are on duty. Their uniforms identify who they are. So when we see a police officer, we know for sure who they are. Firefighters wear uniforms while they are at work doing their job of putting out fires. And football players wear uniforms when they play in the game. Their uniforms help protect them. So take a look at this picture. Do you recognize this guy? Jarrett is ready to play. Look at his uniform. He has a jersey that identifies that he plays for the Vikings. And a helmet, shoulder pads, and cleats for protection. He's equipped to help his team win the game. His coach wouldn't allow him to play in the game unless he had all of his uniform on. God provides everyone who has trusted Jesus with a uniform as well. You know, we can't see it. It's not real clothes that we put on. Instead, it's God's armor that he tells us all about in the Bible. We need this armor because God's enemy, Satan, wants to trick us and wants us to disobey God. He tells us lies. But God gives us armor to protect us against Satan's attacks. Ephesians 6:11 says, "Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil." As we look at Jarrett's uniform, let's think about the armor of God. A football player wears a belt that holds up his pants. One part of the armor of God is the belt of truth. It holds the other parts of the armor together because truth is the key to victory in our lives. The shoulder pads cover a football player's chest. Another part of God's armor is the breastplate of righteousness, which protects our heart. Football cleats dig into the ground and help a player stand in position. The shoes of peace are part of the armor of God that gives us peace with God and keeps us grounded as we share the good news with others. Football players wear arm pads. It is often the first point of contact with the opposing team. The shield of faith is God's armor that goes in front of us, protecting us from Satan's fiery darts. The football helmet protects our head. The armor of God's helmet of salvation protects our mind. Jarrett's coach, I'm sure, has a playbook. Just like a football playbook gives direction, the sword of the Spirit, which is God's word, gives us instructions about how to play the game of life so that we can win. Okay, to follow up on what we just talked about, I have a little experiment that I want to share with you. So, as you see here, I have two oranges. I have one orange that has the peel still on it and one that does not have a peel. So, we're going to take each orange and put them into the container of water and see what happens. So we're going to start with this orange. This orange doesn't have a peel, and this orange represents someone who does not have on the armor of God. They're not wearing the armor of God. So let's see what happens when we put it into the container of water. Wow, that one sunk. It went all the way to the bottom and it fell all the way down. So let's look at this orange now. This orange has the peel on it. And that reminds us of someone who's wearing the armor of God, who has on the armor of God. So we're going to drop it into the container of water and see what happens to it. Here we go. Well, how about that? This one floats. You see, that reminds us that the armor of God keeps us afloat, and it helps us overcome Satan's lies and Satan's tricks. See, it holds us up and it keeps us from sinking when we face Satan's attacks. So I hope this is a reminder to you of how important it is to put on the armor of God. You know, earlier we talked about police officers and firefighters and how that they wore their uniforms when they went to work. We talked about football players and how they wore their uniforms when they were playing on the field. But as Christians, we need to put on the whole armor of God every day. That's our uniform. That's what we need. And God has given that to us to protect us. So I hope you'll remember what we've talked about today and that you'll always put on the armor of God.